Nigerian equities market shrug off political concerns to gain 334 billion naira in 1 week. CBN to combat 1.6 trillion naira excess liquidity in February amidst rising business confidence. The program is Business Express, coming to you live from our Abuja studios of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Amina Nujaim. Welcome. The Central Bank of Nigeria has reported that the federally collected revenue from non-oil sector rose to 2.09 trillion naira in 6 months. The Apex Bank, in its economic report for the fourth quarter of 2018, data revealed that the federally collected revenue from non-oil sector, which stood at 1.14 trillion naira in the third quarter of 2018, fell to 946.9 billion naira at the end of December. The non-oil revenue at 946.9 billion naira. This is equivalent to 67.6% of total and was below the proportionate quarterly budget estimate of 1.4 trillion naira and the level in the preceding quarter by 32.4% and 17%. Despite the increase in crude oil price, oil revenue declined relative to proportionate budget, owing to shortfalls in crude oil production and exports arising from maintenance at various NNPC terminals. News just reaching us say that the Central Bank of Nigeria is set to enforce total compliance with statutory provisions of Secure Transactions in Movable Assets Act of 2017 across all financial institutions in the country. Governor of the Apex Bank, Godwin Emefiele, who disclosed this at the first national workshop for judicial officers in Abuja, emphasized the urgent need to close the gap in development financing for small and medium enterprises in tandem with the mandate of Economic Recovery and Growth Plan (ERGP).
In this regard, it is pertinent that we solicit and obtain the full support of the judiciary and law enforcement agencies towards providing a robust and resilient financial infrastructure. This will deepen credit delivery to our productive sectors, especially among the micro, small, and medium enterprises, and foster sustainable and inclusive growth in our country.
It is commendable that regulators in the banking sector, specifically the CBN, that's the Central Bank, recognizes the role of judiciary, judiciary plays in ensuring financial system stability in the economy. I assure you all that the judiciary on its part will continue to ensure that disputes arising from secured lending in movable assets are resolved speedily in line with sacrosanct constitutional and statutory provisions.
The Act gives legality to the National Collateral Registry, a brainchild of the CBN and the World Bank, established as part of efforts to increase financing for MSMEs while protecting the lender. Moving on now, 140 business reforms were achieved in the last 3 years. This was disclosed at the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council (PEBEC) stakeholders meeting in Lagos. How have these reforms affected the micro, small and medium enterprises sector, and what are their stakes this year? We will be looking at prospects for the MSME sector this year, and our guest is Dr. Steve Ogidan. He is a well-known MSME strategist with a record at the World Bank and many more financial institutions. Glad to have you join us on Business Express today.
Good afternoon.
Let's start this way. view would you give of the SME sector currently in Nigeria?
Thank you. The MSME sector in Nigeria economy is a major driver of growth because it is one sector that has continued to create employment opportunities for the people, and it has continued to feed into the big factories. And it is again creating opportunity for poverty management, moving the poor people out of poverty with dignity. So it is one sector that has continuously grown, and it has continued to employ more people in the sector. But the sector still has some challenges, despite all the efforts that have been put in place to drive the sector.
Okay, which of the industries do you see yielding more in the short term, considering the quest of revenue generation?
Given the nature of Nigeria economy, agricultural sector is a major driver of growth. The many MSMEs are in agricultural production. Some of them are in processing, some of them are into marketing. And these are the areas of quick wins that have continued to drive the economy. People must feed. Our population is growing. Urban population is increasing. Rural people are moving to the urban area. These are the drivers of growth and drivers of the MSMEs, given the immediate and the future plans.
Is it agriculture alone?
Not only agriculture. There is a trading aspect, there is the cottage industry aspect. And when we talk of agriculture, we're not talking of only agricultural production. There is agricultural processing, there is input production, there's a whole lot of value chain that has to do with agriculture. And so it is not just the primary production, it includes a whole wide range of activities. Marketing is there, production is there, packaging is there, appropriate technology to drive the growth is there. Even there are some aspects that we have been overlooking for a long time. These have to do with transportation, logistics, and cold chain management. All these things are aspects of agricultural production that can really drive the growth.
Where would you put things like industrialization and say manufacturing, for instance?
Industrialization is fundamental. It is critical. But for any economy in Africa to be able to create employment and drive growth, it must start from what we know, what we are used to. That is agriculture. Then the deployment of appropriate technology to drive the economy. Those are the aspects. But again, MSME alone cannot drive industrialization.
So what would drive industrialization?
Fantastic. What would drive industrialization was deployment of appropriate technology and the big companies of taking from the MSMEs so that they will now be able to produce to scale. Because as it were now, the MSME can grow to a particular limit, given the challenge of business environment, given the deployment of appropriate technology. And given this situation, they need a push to be able to do better than they are doing. And these have started already. We have the MSME Development Clinic that has been established across the country. We have the Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency. We have the Nigeria Incentive Risk-Based Sharing System in Agriculture. And we have the NISA Microfinance Bank that is going to deploy a whole lot of funding into the agricultural and production sector.
Now, how conversant are these SMEs conversant with the points that you are bringing up now?
Education is key. Knowledge sharing is key. And I am aware SMEDAN has done a lot to improve the capacity of the MSMEs, especially in giving them information. And if you follow the activities in recent times, the Vice President has been going around the country to launch the MSME clinics. And that is a major area of information sharing. And internet has become a university of life. It is a way for these MSMEs to be able to do better.
But not many people have access to internet, for instance.
The number of people that have access to internet in Nigeria has continued to grow. And the tele-density in Nigeria is the highest in Africa. And so we assume that most of these MSMEs don't have access. They do have the access. And you can look at the number of people on the MTN network, the people that are on the other networks. So it is continuously increasing. And I really find it difficult for anybody to do a successful business in Nigeria today without having a telephone line. So that is the basis of technology. If technology is not working for your business today, it is already working against you.
Does having a telephone mean access to internet?
It is one of the first steps to access to internet because your clients are no longer on the street, they are on the net. So they must be able to access you, they must be able to call you. Not every client will come into your shop, not every client will come into your business premises. You need to be able to serve them online. That is where technology comes in.
I'm still coming back to the mobile phone.
Good.
Social media is taking over. Most people are chatting and doing other things.
Good.
That's not business.
Sure.
So, coming back to the question, are those who need this information and services, do they have access? And are they really utilizing what is available?
They really have the access, and I must confess to you, there is no entrepreneur in Nigeria today with a phone that does not connect on WhatsApp. And you'll be surprised, these people have connected with their clients on WhatsApp. And people make a whole lot of demand for their services through the network. I give you an example. In Kaduna, where I live, there was a time, these people you call Merua. The Merua told me that, please let me give you my telephone number. That now I don't go about the town again. I sit down under the tree and people call me on phone to come and supply water. And you can see, technology is driving the business. If technology can drive the Merua business, then you are wasting your time if you are not using technology.
Merua that has a GSM.
That has a GSM, yes.
Wonderful. Now, an issue I want to talk about now, a number of SMEs are folding within a short time frame.
Yes.
What would you attribute to being responsible for this? Is it lack of planning, lack of funding? What would you say
is a combination of many things. It is not funding. Most of the time, it is a question of capacity. The technology and the knowledge you need to establish a business is different from what you need to grow it to the next level. Anybody can establish business, but growing to the level that will be able to grow the business to the next level is a major challenge. Most of the time, businesses are growing, entrepreneurs are not growing. They don't educate themselves, they don't build their capacity to be able to manage multiple outlets. If you look at it, most of the time people tend to think that it is our business environment that is so challenging. When Indians come to Nigeria, they do businesses, they succeed. When Lebanese come, they do businesses, they succeed. How come our own businesses are not succeeding? Discipline, our attitude, and our orientation to customer service. If you serve your customers very well, they will come back again. And again, many of us have no strategy for referrals. 96% of businesses rely on referrals for continuous business. Only 3% have a strategy for referral. So there's a need for these entrepreneurs to be able to create time out of the business to build their capacity, receive education, attend trainings that will be able to create opportunities for you. There will be trade fair, they will not go. That is where you will meet potential investors. That is where you meet potential clients. You need to move out of your business. Don't be too busy doing the business without building your capacity. Capacity is key. Access to finance has been addressed. A whole number of microfinance banks are there supporting the MSME. Government has created a lot of windows. But because they don't even build their capacity, they don't know, they don't have information about the windows that have been created. So they need to create capacity, they need to scale up, they need to deploy appropriate technology. If technology is not working for you, it is already working against you. It starts with your telephone. People must be able to reach you. Make it easier for your clients to be able to reach you. Then improve your packaging and then go for certification. NAFDAC has been able to do a whole lot of things to simplify the process of certification.
Let's talk about certification.
Good.
What does it entail?
Certification includes start from your branding and getting the quality of what you put. I can bet it with you, you will not drink a bottled water that has no brand name. You want to be sure that this brand is very good. Because if you drink the water and you develop stomachache, if the doctor asks you, what did you drink? You said, I don't know. No, you say, I don't know, then they'll say something must be wrong with you. So let them focus on the brand. Let them go for certification. Let NAFDAC come in and be able to check what are the processes they have put in place to be able to get the products done. What are the things that they need to put in place in terms of quantity, in terms of quality, in terms of hygiene? Go to Lagos. You discover that quite a number of these small businesses, they are producing in an hygienic environment. And given that situation, people will not buy. When you buy once and you discover the product is not good, you will not buy again. The best marketing for any product is a good quality.
You are talking about certification.
Yes.
Yes, certification is on ground. How far has monitoring gone to check some of these things that you've mentioned, for instance?
Monitoring is going on. NAFDAC is doing a lot of things. Standard Organization is doing a lot of things. But you look at then the membership organizations of those entrepreneurs, they do a lot of things. Whether you like it or not, 200 million people, you will have one or two that are bad within the system. So we need to be able to check. And again, as Nigerians, we need to be our brother's keeper. When you see somebody producing something that is not hygienic, call the regulatory authorities. Okay. Let them come and check and know what this guy is producing is fake, so that it does not contaminate the entire value chain and everybody in the system. So we have a lot of work to do to be our brother's keeper. We need to be able to report. But the problem we have in Nigeria, nobody wants to offend anybody. Everybody wants to be a good man.
Now, talking about projections for 2019 and drawbacks, what would they be?
2019 is going to be a fantastic year. One, it is an election year. The moment election is over, there will be a whole lot of opportunities. Many people are making money from election. They start from the printers who are printing. They start from the people who are producing snacks and food for the campaign. Look at the campaigns in Kano. You have more than 2-3 million people together. They will drink water. They will feed. So opportunities are there. And immediately the election is over, many people will now create opportunities. They will see their calling within the business line, and they will be able to do better. MSME growth is the major driver of the economy. And again, the moment the election is over, we know we have stability for the next 4 years, and it creates opportunity for many people who are even out of paid employment to be able to do better, to be able to improve their opportunity to create wealth, and then key into the big companies to supply them the products.
Now, for this sector to live up to expectation, what role should government play in ensuring that it's a success?
The major role of government is to be an enabler, creating an enabling environment, creating access to finance. And that is why we must congratulate the central bank governor. He has created a wonderful window within the NISA Microfinance Bank for them to be able to reach out and get this fund to improve their business with limited constraint. So those opportunities are there. More fund will go into the economy. Trader money is going for those who are doing petty trading.
Yes.
MSME loans is going for those who are doing cottage industries, and those opportunities are there. But they must pay back the loans, because this is a loan, it is not a grant. And then when they pay back, other people will benefit from it, and it's going to be a revolving loan. Those opportunities are limitless.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program today. It's been a pleasure having you, and we hope that you join us again next time.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is set to intensify its liquidity mop-up efforts to deal with excess liquidity of 1.6 trillion naira expected in the interbank money market this month, amidst rising business confidence over improved macroeconomic conditions during the month. The Business Expectation Survey conducted by the Apex Bank in January shows increased optimism in the economy, with overall confidence index for February rising to 62.1% from 25.9% for January. While business expect further appreciation of the naira this month, they also anticipate further increase in interest rates, borrowing rates to rise in current, next and the next 12 months, as the confidence indices stood at 26.7 and 7.6 points. The outlook on higher borrowing rates is in line with projections of higher interest rates on treasury bills this month. The pound is down very slightly against the US dollar today and is currently trading at around $1.293. The US dollar managed to gain on the pound despite Sunday night talks by Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, James Bullard, who said that the Fed's interest rate policy had become a little bit restrictive. And for how the naira is exchanging with other international currencies, including the dollar, next is a graphic summary. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria Fund says 15.2 million passengers passed through Nigerian airports in 227,834 aircraft movements in 2018. This was revealed in Fund's 2018 annual report, which indicated an increase of 2.5 million passengers from 12.7 million passengers recorded in 2017, representing 19.11% increase. It also revealed an increase of 27,068 from 200,766 aircraft movements recorded in 2017. This represents 11.48% increase. 11.02 million passengers traveled within the country, while a total of 4.2 passengers traveled into and out of the country through airports during the period under review. The data further showed that 182,000 domestic and 44,910 international flights were operated across the nation's 22 airports during the period, while total cargo stood at 245.89 million tons, compared to 169.50 million tons recorded in 2017. Activities on the equities market rebounded last week despite jitters in political environment, with investors recording 334 billion naira gains in their investments. Let's have details with Muplang Dakok.
A total turnover of 1.8 billion shares worth 26.8 billion naira in 19,213 deals were traded in the week. The NSE All-Share Index and market capitalization sustained the weekly gains in the month, appreciating by 2.92% to close at 31,529.92 and 11.7 trillion naira. The financial services industry, when measured by volume, led the activity chart with 1.4 billion shares worth 19.7 billion naira. While Regency Assurance, Dangote Flour Mills and Guarantee Trust Bank led the top price gainers. Also traded during the week were a total of 6,590 units of exchange-traded products ETPs, valued at 55,711.29 naira in 2 deals, and 2,668 units of federal government bonds, valued at 2.8 million naira in 14 deals. All indices finished higher with the exception of the NSE Industrial Goods Index, which depreciated by 0.66%. A summary of price changes shows that 53 equities appreciated in price during the week, 21 equities depreciated in price, while 94 equities remained unchanged.
Thank you, Muplang. Meanwhile, trading ended on a positive note at the start of the week. The All-Share Index gained to close at 31,781.87 basis points, while market capitalization also went up slightly to 11.8 trillion naira. Investors exchanged 551.5 million shares valued at 5.6 billion naira in 5,229 deals. Asian stocks were mostly higher on Monday as traders watched for developments on a fresh round of trade talks between American and Chinese officials in Beijing this week. Markets in China and Taiwan reopening after a week-long Lunar New Year break posted broad gains. Muplang Dakok has an outlook of performances of major markets across the globe. Crude prices sagged at the start of the week with signs of rising U.S. oil production and a stronger dollar pressure, the commodity that saw a hefty drop last week. Let's take a look at how commodities are faring in the global markets. On that note, we conclude this edition of Business Express. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube, and you can also communicate with us on Twitter and handle us NTA News Now. Have a fruitful week ahead. I am Amina Nushen.